Hi, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your July 16th to the 31st, 2023 reading for you. Now, I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps my channel be seen by the YouTube algorithm, and it helps me out tremendously. So, thank you so very much. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. This cleanse and meditation will be accompanied by a loud sound. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. I have to tell you, Gemini, I got very teared up during that singing bowl. So let's see what Spirit has to say. That was quite intense. So let's see the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. Angels and Spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Here we have the Three of Pentacles. We need to be mindful. I'm just hearing all work and no play. We're going to go from extremes, the sense of I'm going to put my all into it, 110%, to really backing off and feeling overwhelmed. Okay, just be aware of it and be aware that you feel judged. There's just a sense here of I feel judged, whether it's by yourself, whether it's by others. For whatever you're doing, you're feeling judged, and you have to take the judgment out of it. You have to stop judging yourself and stop caring what other people think. That's a really easy thing to say. It's a really hard thing to do. So being aware of that here is going to be really important. Let's see what Spirit has to say. Angels and Spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. Here we have wish. There's a wish that's going to be granted during this time. You'll most likely be seeing a blackbird, a raven, a crow, a bird that is black. Okay. And that is going to really signify a wish being granted, you being seen by Spirit. Okay. And what you deeply want being seen and brought forward. That's going to be a big deal. So let's see what the tarot has to say. Angels and Spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and Spirit guides, angels and Spirit guides, show me clearly. All right, really, really nice, really interesting. Okay, you're starting and stopping, starting and stopping. There's something that's going on here right now, Gemini, and it's like you're starting it, you're putting up, you're going to do this, and then you stop, and you're kind of yo-yoing back and forth during this time. You're going to start, you're going to take that leap, and you're actually going to be really embracing something that brings you a lot more prosperity, a lot more bounty, a lot more wealth. You're also getting out of your own head, which is huge, absolutely huge. Overthinking, overanalyzing, worrying, doubting, fearing, there's a real sense of release with the Three of Wands reversed. There's a way that you thought things were going to open up, or there's an idea that you had. It's not going to work out that way. And coming to terms with that can be hard, because we can have our mindset on, it's going to be like this, or our head set with, oh, it's going to be like this. It's not going to work out that way. So as soon as we acknowledge, okay, what I had envisioned, it's going to kind of go a little bit haywire from there. And that's okay. that's going to be really important because we're going to be seeing things moving forward in ways that we hadn't thought of, we hadn't anticipated, we hadn't imagined. And this is like take your expectations, kind of throw them out the window and see what happens during this time. So here it really feels like we feel stuck. We can feel overwhelmed. We had a vision, we had a way of doing things, we had an idea, and it didn't go according to plan. And so we can get really bitter about that. So just be aware that that's kind of crowning things. It didn't go the way that we had imagined. And what we do and what we're going to be doing during this time is acknowledging, okay, the way that I thought isn't necessarily how it's going to be. So with justice reversed, things aren't just, things aren't fair. And sometimes they aren't. Sometimes things just aren't fair. And this is going to be a time where we start thinking outside of the box. And we also realize it's not going to be about outward. It's not going to be about going out. It's going to be about coming into ourselves, looking at what we really desire, looking at what we really want. It's going to be a lot from the 16th to the 31st of July. It's going to be a time of stepping into ourselves. It would be a lot easier. It really would be if it was external, if it was going outward, if it was, connecting outwardly, working with people outwardly, that would be easier. But what we're going to find here is that it's inward. Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, I don't know if he has glasses on, but right now it's like you're doing this but not being able to see because you can't see his eyes. I don't know if you can see that. And that's just something that spirit just told me. It's like he can do all of this and he doesn't see a thing. And so that's going to be the energy here from us is that we're going to create and yet we're not going to see it. And that's going to be one of the challenges during this time. It's not about going outward. It's not about connecting with other people. It's about setting up within ourselves. And it's about saying, this is what I want. This is who I am. And this is what I desire. So that's going to be huge. Now, we can have a bit of a disagreement or a trouble with a Libra energy or a Libra time frame, September 23rd to October 22nd. That's a Libra time frame. But it's like things feel very out of balance. And it can be that we were out of balance. We were way too much in our own heads and we were out of balance with ourselves. We could see that. We could have, been really worried, breaking out, feeling upset, headaches, back pains, migraines, this, that. We could really have felt it physically. And for a lot of us Geminis, we did. We really felt and can still be feeling this physically. But once we look at things and say, okay, I don't see, it's interesting because Spirit's saying it's not fair, right? What was out of balance. But it's not necessarily that we have to deal with something that isn't fair, that is unjust, that's like it's just going to sit like sour milk on the stomach. That's not how I see this. It's like I'm cutting through doubts and fears. I'm claiming what I want. I'm seeing things more openly, more honestly with myself. And all of a sudden, I'm becoming more just and I'm becoming more fair with me. And that leads us to being unjust, unfair, kind of unfounded fear, doubt, chaos coming in with the 8 of Swords, worry, doubt, fear, doubting, yeah, just a lot of doubt, a lot of anxiety, just a huge wave of anxiety. And our mind just absolutely ran away with us. We could have had a health scare. Some of us could have had, I mean, most definitely that's showing up here, where it's like things were out of balance and we could have been worried about things, but it's also that we could just be worried. And this is a time where you might be like me, you might be really good at worrying. I'm working really hard to stop. So I've been talking to a Qigong master, and one of the things he said, and I know I've shared this before, but for anybody who's new, who's watching, first of all, welcome. But the art of smiling can really help with worrying, which, we could sit there and say, oh, it boosts serotonin and people say smile, it makes you happier, it makes you feel better. But it's also because there are meridian points. In your jaw, there are the meridian points for your liver. In your lips, there are the meridian points for your pancreas. Your pancreas holds worry. Your liver holds anger. Smile. It releases the worry. It releases the anger. It releases us from our own prison of our mind. And this is going to be a time where we can feel overwhelmed emotionally with things, right? But we are going to see ourselves stepping forward more and more into what we want, into what we desire. It's like once we step out of or acknowledge the emotional like roller coaster we've been on And the fact that, yeah, I can feel upset. Yeah, I can be worried. Yeah, I can be overwhelmed. That's okay. I'm human. I get to feel that way. And then we get out of our own head because the Eight of Swords is being a Mrs. Havisham, I believe that's how you say it. Yeah, in great expectations, burning in your wedding dress because that sorrow of that moment of being left at the altar becomes our whole entire existence. Sorrows come. And that's why, Spirit said things aren't always just. They aren't always fair. They aren't always stories. Good doesn't always triumph over evil as much as we want it to. Sometimes bad things happen. And there's no way of reasoning it. You can't sit there and what you say can always sound trite in comparison to people's trauma. And saying, this happens, this happened, but it doesn't get to be my cage. That's taking our power back. And that's what we're doing here. So no matter what trauma you've been through, Gemini, whether it be something that people's jaw just falls on the floor and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you lived through that. Or people would shrug and say, well, that's no big deal, but they didn't go through it. Oh, buck up, get over it, type of thing, but they didn't live through it. It doesn't matter. What matters is how it affects us. And so here with the Eight of Swords reversed, we're stepping out of a cage. We're stepping out of doubts and fears and negativity and hurts and pains and being way too judgmental to ourselves. And we're stepping into the 10 of Pentacles, prosperity and success, bounty, having a community, really building something beautiful. And it can be a community of just ourselves, ourselves and our cats, right? Is there a cat here? Oh, there's dogs. So ourselves and our dogs, right? Or it can be bigger. It can be more. It doesn't matter. What we're going to see here is that we are sharing our knowledge. We are moving forward. We are embracing wealth and what we value as much as money. And it's changing our lives. And we're having wealth come into our lives. Again, it's money or what we value as much as money. As much as we all want windfalls, we're coming to a completion of a cycle financially. It can be that we learn something. It can be that we see something in a different light. It can be that we start to value ourselves more. And it can be that we start to sell, we start to connect, we start to see. So it all depends on where you are in your journey. It all depends on what you're going after. But here with the 10 of Pentacles, it's prosperity, it's wealth, it's financial independence. It's also generational blessing coming in. You're doing something. Okay. So what Spirit is showing me here, and that's why I got a little bit confused, is that Spirit is showing me like there's somebody in your family line that you're doing what they wanted to do. And they are moving you forward. They're cheering you on 110% on the other side. They're like, yes, yes, yes. So there's something here where you're opening doors that they wish they could have opened. You're doing things that they wish they could have done. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be big at all. But there's a sense of having a freedom, having a liberty, having a passion, a beauty that is just so exciting to them. And it's such a big deal. And you're feeling that big deal, even though you might not be able to put words to it, or you might be like second guessing yourself. But there's a big deal. There's a completion of a cycle, but there's also a completion of an attitude that I can't do this, or I don't get to have this, or this isn't for me. You're breaking a generational curse. You're breaking a sense of we don't get to because XYZ. And now you're stepping into the realm of I get to. I have this. I'm moving this forward. And not only are you moving it, you're sharing that knowledge, with the apples and the apples in the tree up here. You're sharing that knowledge with others. You're moving things forward. And it brings you to the Fool. It brings you to taking that leap of faith. It brings you to having, a loyal sidekick, that energy on the other side. That, because in Celtic mythology, white animals, okay, were spirit animals. So here you have that spirit entity walking with you. You're even riding that spirit entity, guiding you forward. So you have a connection. You have a connection with an ancestor with, it might manifest because you might not know that ancestor. Some of you do. It's like a great grandma or a grandma. I see this more as female right now for somebody, but yeah, it does come through rather female. But for For others, it can be somebody that you've admired that passed on. And it's like that energy is inspiring you. It's like because they're trying to get themselves known to you, but they've been maybe even forgotten to history. So just be aware of this. Just be aware that you're having this very powerful pull forward, Gemini. And it's a very big deal. It is a very big deal. There's a part of you that is awakening. And there's a part of you that's awakening to something that once you find it, like it's like once you start on this path, you're going to be like, oh wow, this was always me. It's not, it's not that you're redefining yourself. It's that you are awakening to you. So you have a passion, you have a beauty, you have this radiance that shines within you. And now you're letting yourself move forward in it. And it can be this, it's this idea of something to do where you didn't quite have the words for it before. You didn't have the imagination or the ideas. And now it's coming to you. Now, like there's a part of your mind, there's a part of you, your creativity, your insight that has been awakened. And it's like, well, I have to follow this. Like I have to try this. And even if you're sitting there thinking, well, I always start things and don't finish them because Geminis, right? But there's a sense here of everything that you've started and haven't finished has gotten you to this point, has gotten you to this curiosity, has gotten you to know a little bit about this and a little bit about that and a little bit to pull everything together and really move things forward. You're following a wish, a dream, a beauty, a connection. That's a huge part of who you are and what you desire within your life. The thing is that are we brave enough to seem like fools to others? Are we brave enough to take that leap of faith and to move forward and to go after and to say, this is what I want in my life for myself? And that's a question here because we want to take that leap of faith. We want to, embrace that prosperity that lasts for generations, but we can get caught up in our own fear and in the fact that, everything hasn't been, a walk in the park. It hasn't been, a bed of roses. It hasn't been easy. And Spirit's like, but it wasn't supposed to be. And I know that that sounds harsh, but for you to have the tenacity and the brilliance and the fire and the passion to move yourself forward, it wasn't supposed to be easy. There's also connection with your sacral chakra here, which is going to be a very big deal for you. A connection with your sensual energy, with your creativity, with your inspiration. That's going to be very big for you, Gemini. Our subconscious energy to be mindful of is the Five of Pentacles. Poverty mentality. I don't get to be wealthy. I don't get to have nice things. I don't get to be prosperous. I don't get. It's always going to be harder than me. It's always going to be harder for me. I'm never going to be there. It's always overwhelming. Acknowledging that with the Five of Pentacles and saying, no, that doesn't get to be my story. It might have been our story once upon a time. It doesn't get to be our story anymore. Every hardship, every pain, every disappointment, every setback we have been through, it doesn't get to define us. It doesn't get to be our whole entire story. But be mindful because it's going to want to be. It's going to want to be the thief of the show, the one that steals away all our glory because we don't get to. And that's not true at all. Our subconscious spirit message is faith. Have faith. Again, with that blackbird coming in, have faith in your dreams, have faith in what you desire, connect with the universe, divinity, God, source, spirit, however you say it, however you see it, connecting with your faith and seeing yourself move forward in your power. That's a huge thing. That's a huge for us, Gemini. But also having that faith. Our subconscious tarot message, the Seven of Cups reversed. We've released a lot of our dreams. And is that necessarily bad? No, it doesn't have to be. But we've released a lot of our dreams. We've let certain things go. And that's okay. But subconsciously, we need to not give up on our dreams. We need to not give up on ourselves. There's an element to a Gemini that always needs to be, coated in glitter and sparkle and unicorn dust. Like that needs to have dreams and beauty and creativity and insight and just magic. That's who we are. If you take that away from a Gemini and you say you have to be absolutely sensible and practical and no whimsy whatsoever, you'll just see a Gemini starting to wither. It's like a flower starting to wilt. So subconsciously, don't give up on your dreams. reevaluate things. Say, well, you know what, that doesn't fit me anymore. Or, you know what about this or what about that? But keep the dreams alive, Gemini. That's going to be a really important thing for us. All right, Gemini. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power, intensity, and beauty of this time and of ourselves. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Gemini. May blessings and prosperity always be with you. I love you all. God bless. Bye.